Are we live?
Yes, we are. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's office hours. We are so excited for today's topics. Let's see who joined. Hello, Davy. Davy is here. Uh, and yeah. So, we have a lot of important things to cover today. And we are going to start with social login. And here today with us, we have Safa, our expert engineer. Hello, Safa. Welcome.
Hi, Ramisa. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. It's good to see you here again. I think this is the second
This
for
is my
you.
second office hours. Yeah, yes, because one of them was on July, I believe. So here I'm back.
Yeah, we are excited to have you here. And let's see who joined us. Yeah, Victor. Hello, Victor. Johnny and Jeff. Hello, y'all. And yeah, Safa is the best, he says, Davy. Thank you, Davy. Thanks
I'm
a
not,
lot.
but thank you.
So, as I said before, we have a lot of things to cover, but in tech worlds, you know, there are things going, crazy things are going, right? Recently, we all heard about ChatGPT, GPT Builder, GPT-4 Turbo, right?
Yeah,
So I'm just curious about your thoughts on that as
exactly.
a
Yeah.
developer. Yeah, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I don't understand why everybody is so stressed about this AI technology, and everybody was saying that, oh my God, AI is picking up our jobs and everything. It's just a great tool that you have to learn how to use. I really love it. I use it in my daily life, especially when I need to create some quick functions that require some like already known issues like convert RGBA to X kind of things. Like instead of Googling, as a developer, I kind of use it a lot myself. And yeah, there are so many other tools now. Like you can train your API so that it can more related to you. So actually, to be honest, on Draftbit, our production team is also working on some integrations for our builder. We're like
It's
covering
secrets,
with
secrets. We're not revealing too much,
yeah, we're
but
working.
keep
What it's gonna be?
keep an eye on us, guys. Really,
We're
we have a fantastic team, and more exciting things are ahead. Right? We can
exactly
say that.
so like we're like thinking over it. Like we're thinking how to make Draftbit as great as possible for our users and stuff. So I think it's a great tool, and everybody sooner or later is going to be using more AI powered tools like they are using Google right now. So that's the new world.
Yeah,
So we all have to getting used to it.
yeah, you're right. So for the actually for the custom functions, as you mentioned, I think it's very useful. Because before that we were using Stack Overflow, right? When we stacked on something, and now we have ChatGPT. So it's
To be honest,
fantastic. I'm very
we're
excited for it as well.
we're kind of still using Stack Overflow because it's all trained by tools like websites like Stack Overflow. So it's just a combination of all the answers in that community on that forum. So that yeah, it's like
Yeah,
combined knowledge of humankind. So
yeah, you're right. So apart from tech world, let's dive into Draftbit world. So recently we released our newest feature action editor.
exactly.
So, and what are you thinking about it?
I like as an expert who spends like 8 hours at least a day in Draftbit in our experts projects. I really love it. Like yeah, okay, our action stack was already powerful enough, but right now with the branches, with the if else statements within the actions, it's pretty powerful tool. And I'm sure that our community members are going to be building a lot of crazy actions with that. And like I really like the drag and drop actions. Like we're playing around with this. Still, this is still a new feature, so I would appreciate from all our community members their feedbacks about how we can make it better and better every day. So, but to be honest, it's in a very good shape as it is right now. And yeah, I would like to hear a bit from other guy, like how they found the new action editors. I really like it.
Yeah, so far from Intercom, I mean, and also from community posts, they are all positive. Let's see.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's dive into today's topic. Main topic is about social login. For just to let you know, guys, this is actually our expert service. But today we're going to, I mean, Sefa will go is going to mention at high level the steps of social login. And right after that, Victor, we are here and we see you. So we're Stefa, our expert engineer, is going to take a look at your app and your problem. And please, in the chat, ask your questions. We are happy to answer all of them. If you want us to, take a look at your app or something you're struggling, just let us know. Okay. If you don't have any questions, guys, we are starting. Let's dive in, Safa.
All right. So let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, social logins is a pretty topic, like pretty complicated topic in terms of implementing in a mobile app. But yeah, our platform supports all the complexities, let's say. So, but in order to like before we start how we proceed with the Draftbit site, there are a couple of things that everybody has to do before you start implementing the Google logins and the Apple logins. For first of all, if you're gonna implement a social login like Google login or Facebook login or anything else, Apple forces you to use Apple login as well. So if you have any social login, you must have an Apple login as well. So if you don't have any social logins, it's okay. You can use your email and passwords. But like if you're gonna use just Google, so Apple is also another thing that you have to add to that screen. So like today I will try to show you guys like how we implemented in Express World and how we proceed with that. But there are two great documentations that I really suggest you to go through to like help you go through these processes, because on iOS, yeah, for let's start with the Google login first. I will tell the Apple login later. There are two types, like Google login from Android side and Google login from the iOS side. So this documentation really helps you with the links, like how you go to the Google Cloud Console and create your keys and use them in your app. But just to let you know, for Android, you first have to create your app, then publish it to the Play Store, to Play Console Store, and from there you will get your hash key, certificate, fingerprint. Don't worry about this. It sounds so complicated, but like you can find many documentations on the internet how to go through these processes. And at the end of these processes, Google will give you a key that for you to use within the your code, like in your React Native project and in Draftbit, of course. And like I can share this with you on the community so that everybody can take a look at. So this is for the Google side of the things, and this is for the Apple side of the things. I will go through the documentations more clearly when I'm on talking about the Apple side. And yeah, like once you have these keys, you have to go to your Draftbit account and you can store them as a global variable, like API keys that are not going to be refreshed on reload, so that you can access them anywhere in your custom code easily and securely. So and after that you can just implement the Apple login. So for this demonstration, I would like to show you the layout of a experts app that we have. The Montage it's an app that I built, and it's a pretty good one. Like, you can take a look at it. It's on the store, and we implemented this Google login and the Apple login within the screen. So just as I told you before. But there's one more thing that you have to know for the packages. So for Google and for Apple, let me show you the packages that we use. For Apple authentication, you have to use Expo Apple Authentication, and you can use the latest version of that. It's gonna be working fine on the builder. But for Google Auth Session library, you have to import the library as I'm showing right now, and you have to use the version 4.0.3. So otherwise, you will get some errors on the builder, and it's critical for you that you have to use it exactly like this. And one more thing that you have to know: this Apple Expo Apple Authentication library is like a formal library of Expo, but it only works on iOS and the iOS simulators. So if you do have a PWA and you want to add an Apple login feature to that PWA, you can still do that, but you cannot do it using this library. It's another complex thing that you have to implement in that PWA site. But for this demonstration, I'm just gonna worry about the iOS and Android devices. Sorry, iOS devices for the Apple login. And yeah, just to let you know. So in Montage, we have got, you have to do this. We have to do this social login through the custom codes. But there's one more thing that I would like to show you. Just maybe you may not know this feature of Draftbit, so it's a good demonstration for us to show. So normally when we have a custom component, we just create the component in our function stack and just add it like this, and we try to stylize whatever we saw on that component. So your component is just going to be anything, and people are tend to style them within the code itself, like with the code and stuff. But you don't have to do that. So like this is one thing that I wanted to show you. So for example, in my code, I have a custom file called auth components, and inside I've got my buttons. And the way I use this, I first add my custom code to the screen, and I put my navigation props. You can you can have know more about the custom codes in our documentations on Draftbit. I added some extra things that I will be using inside my custom code, like error messages, like it's loading states, because I want to show some activity indicators while I'm logging in using my social logins. And I maybe, like in case of an error, I just try to set the error message. This is the screen variable that I'm having. But the little trick is here, like when you use curly brackets children, this is help the custom code to render whatever there is inside the tree of that custom block. So right now here, for example, I have a view, and inside that view I have an image. So like inside this view, like I don't have to go to the code to change the styles. I can just go ahead and just, for example, implement a different color here. And yeah, like I can design my codes visuals within the builder, and I can just use custom codes just for the coding part of the things. So I just wanted to show you guys like how we do it in here. So right now, yeah, just transparent. I designed my codes. So basically, this is what I did for the Apple login, but I just told you that the Apple library only works on the iOS side. So I just add a conditional hide. If it's iOS, it's going to be shown to the screen only if we are doing it on the iOS side. Otherwise, it's just going to be hidden. So so far I think so good. Let me see if we have any comments or anything. No. Okay, let's dive into the code. So like, since this is an export app, I just don't want to dive into the code's details, but I just want to show you the comments. So I've just hidden the parts that are like essential to the application. But here we are. This is how we implement this. First, we import the libraries, Apple Authentication and the Google Authentication libraries. And as you can see in my screen, I've got two buttons: one Google login button and one Apple wrapper. And here, like, remember I told you we have a children property inside the custom code, and you have to import this as this way. And these are the additional parameters that I will be using throughout my custom code implementation. So these are the functions that I will be using in my code. And what we do, like, don't worry about the custom code over here, but once we see the render function, what I did was I add the button here because I want this touchable to run this prompt whenever I press on that thing. So I wrapped everything that I see in my builder using it touchable inside my custom code. So this is a pretty powerful feature. By this way, you don't have to come to this custom code page and edit your styles and everything. If it is only a style change that you want to do on your app, so you can do it on your builder and entire code will still continue working. Okay, so like how we implement the Google login. So once you have your client IDs and store them on the global variables that we have in our global variable model, we have to use the use values hook and the use set values hook to set the new global variables. So this is how we read this. And when you go to this documentation, it shows you there's an also example code that you can implement yourself. I'm just not going to go through very deeply on this, but yeah, like once you make this request, there's like when you create this hook gives you a prompt async function that you have to call in order to request Google authentication from the Google side. And when we press on this touchable, we call this action with these parameters. And when there's a response, which is the second property of this thing, we check if the response type is success. Response authentication that access token is the token that is returned by the Google. And if there's an error, you just set the error message and show it on the screen, and that's how it goes. So once you have the access token, now, yeah, it means that you're logged into Google. You can use this access token to handle your authentication with your backend or whatever you want to do with that. So that's how we handle the Google login part. And Apple login is much simpler than this because you don't need to create any keys or anything for Apple. So again, we have got an Apple wrapper. Let's have a look at the documentation first. Here, Google Expo Apple Authentication has got two features. First of all, this is the sign-in function that is similar to the prompt async function of the Google Auth session library. It is for you to make a call to the Apple site and get the authentication information. But it also has this pre-configured button for Apple authentication, because Apple is like you can like define a classical Apple sign up or login buttons, and you can either use this library instead of using a wrapper that I just showed you. You can just create your button like this in this documentation, and on the press of that button you can call your credentials and continue like that. Or you don't have to do that. You can just use the similar approach that we did, like with touchable, and like render the children inside that touchable. And then on press, you can call that login function that I just showed you, or it's like on the documentation. So basically, when we press on the Apple button, what we do is we make a call to this library's sign in async function, and we request the scopes like full name and the email. The more information will require extra confirmations from the Apple side. So that's what we do. We just get the name and the email information. And there's one more thing that you have to know, that the credential information is in a GVT token style. It's like we get a JWT token from the Apple side. So there's this library called JWT token decode library, where you can decode this credential token and use the name and the email information within your code, just like you did on the Google side. You can just decode the token, get the email and name information, and maybe use like another fetch call to your own backend and handle the login or the sign up process from there. So yeah, it is a little complicated. It's not as simple as like using Draftbit. I'm aware of that, but this is how it's implemented. And every other Google Auth, like for like all the other social logins, let me show that as well. Expo Auth. These are the libraries that you can use. You can use Twitter, Uber, like all the things that you have in your list. Similar approach, like similarly that you see in our example. Like for example, you can use Azure to continue, and similar to what you just say, it is using a use auth request. It has the same request and the from sync functions that you have to call from your button, and you implement your social logins as it is. So I think the stuff that I've shared on the chat window is pretty helpful for you guys to go through the entire process and implement your own things. But I just wanted to show you the Google and the Apple logins, which are the two very famous ones and the most used case ones. And once you're happy with that, you can just do the rest if you want. If you can implement the other social logins by going through these documentations. And I think it is it.
We have a
Sorry?
question from Davey. Davey has a question. How did you deal with the redirection? What is the difference if we have a backend like Zeno, for example?
It's a good question. For example, or yeah, for this implementation, for these libraries, you have you like you can either have a callback function in your PWA that makes that call to your backend from your PWA. It's another implementation, but for this libraries that I showed you, you didn't need to handle that thing. You once let me open that code again. Sorry, I forgot to mention that to you. 1 second. Let me open the screen again by and hide the information. Okay, and let me share my screen again. So let me tell you about Google part. Once Google gives you this auth token, there is another documentation that I didn't include right now, but I can just share it with you guys later on. So you have to use this token to make another call to Google site, and that's where you will receive your contact information, and you can make that call from the Zano part. So Zano has already got this built-in Google authentication functionalities that you can have to play, but it's like everyone is handling the callbacks differently. But if you're in Zano is also have this feature built in. So, but for Apple, you don't have that callback implementation required for you to implement. But yeah, but as you just say, asked for the Google side, Zano also already has this plugin enabled for you to handle. Once you get this access token to the Zano, you will get the information back, and you can just do it whatever you want to do on your backend side. Don't we have to set up something like Apple or Google with the callback? Yeah, I think Jeff, I just answered that to you. It just go through the documentation. It will really help you a lot. Like some logins will require to redirect users to a callback function that you have to handle. But in those cases, what we do is we publish the PWA to the app, and once call to make to that callback URL, we handle it in our backend. That's how we should do it. But I just wanted to show you in this demonstration how we implement the Draftbit side of the things. And yeah, for example, we can go to search montage. This is our client's app, and let me log out. And this, yeah, as you can see, this is a mobile conversion of the PWA. And when we go here on Google Press, it just automatically logged us in, because I already did that authentication process earlier. But just to let you know, the Google Auth will not work unless you publish your app to the store, because those fingerprints or have to be installed correctly once you publish the app, and you have to allow the URL that you're trying to log in inside the Google Play console. So once you are creating your authentication client ID for the website, it asks you which website you're going to be using this out part. So after that, it will work. Otherwise, it's not going to be working on the builder side. So you have to publish your app to your custom domain, and then it will start working. And yeah,
Davey
as I
has another question. When you read
question?
the documentation, you add your custom code, or you literally just copy paste it and replace with your own variables? Is there extra technical work for a non-tech founder?
The example that is found on this website is it's more than you should need. Like he already defined some scopes, but you don't have to scope this. But yeah, I think this code here is only thing that you will be needing in order to go through. And yeah, in this example code I just showed you, we got this success and we got this authentication access token, as I just showed you in my code. This is a different implementation that we did in our custom code. And in the front end side, what they do is they call this Google API's auth v2 user info API directly from the front end and get the user's data. For our app, what we did, we don't make this call directly from our client side. We send this access token to our backend, and we make this call from the backend side, and we handle all these requests in the backend side. But this is exactly what you can do. You can just use this and implement this in your code, and everything will be fine. I hope this answers Debbie's question.
Yeah, let us know if you have any other questions.
Yeah, if they're like yeah, you have to be a little technical about this. It's not going to be like a piece of cake. But as you might already know, our experts team is here for you to help you. Like if you do have any questions, and if you want us to do this properly for your application, we're always happy to help you guys, and we can just implement this social logins to your application. But this is how we do it.
Yeah, thank you. It's I mean, it sounds like easy when you're explaining all of these complicated things.
I was worried that it might make it a little complex than it should. Like I hear myself. I hope it's clear to you. But if you have any questions, I can just happy to help.
I think, yeah, it seems like a piece of art. Yeah, kind of complicated, I guess. But we, as Safa mentioned, we have experts. Also, we have support plans. You can get training, I guess, with one-on-one training sessions with our experts as well. For example, if you're already implemented some part and you're struggling at a specific part, you can get some one-on-one sessions to train yourself about it, right? This is another approach. So I think we don't have any questions related to social login. So I think Victor still here. Let's dive in his app. So Victor was posting about his issue in community. This page, this page projet screen is scrolling in web preview, but it doesn't scroll in iOS or mobile previews, right? He
I see.
wants whole page to scroll. We found your screen from the screenshots you shared in the community post, and I sent it to Safa. Now let's see how he's gonna handle this situation. And Victor, please let us know if you have further questions or anything to share about it.
So yeah, to be honest, I didn't have much time to play around with the screen, but let's see what's the problem first. And in the worst case scenario, I just want to show you how in experts world we dive into these questions like this. As scrolling is always an issue in React Native world. So let's have a look. So Victor says that it works perfectly fine on the web, but it doesn't work on the iOS. Let's have a look. Okay. Hmm. I see. Yeah. So the whatever under the tab view is not scrollable as it is on the website. So let's try to play around with this and see what the problem is. So let me see. He has a header section, and after that he has a tab section, and inside this tab views he has got two tab views. So let's make it simpler. So let's first of all, it's crucial that if I want to play around with this, I just duplicate the screen first. So I don't want to mess anything that he has currently have on your app, on his app. So let's duplicate and see what we can do. Oh, I just duplicated twice. And let's hard refresh. Sometimes this happens when you duplicate. Okay, since we got the sub duplicates, 1 second. Project duplicate. Did I duplicate the correct one?
I don't think so.
Let me duplicate the base project. Okay. I think I did duplicate this wrong screen. Ah, yeah, see. Let me delete this wrong screen. And
Let me ask another question about this missing screen warning. Some users are just struggling about it. What is the main reason? I mean, there are a couple of reasons, I guess.
yeah,
Um,
the main reason is when you duplicate the screen, it is like sometimes not automatically added to the navigator root navigator. So it seems like it's hidden. So like hot refreshing the web browser or rebuilding the screens is a solution to that, but it doesn't happen all the time. Maybe because of the internet connection that I'm having right now, it happened twice. But if you see that error, like hard refreshing will solve this issue. Okay, so we have got the duplicate of the screen, so we're happy with this. So first thing first, I think this page is a scrollable page. That's pretty good, but earlier when I was looking at the screen, I see that there are some inner scrolls. Like once you have a scroll view inside another scroll view in in React Native, it works fine on the web and the iOS, but sometimes it doesn't on the Android side, because like Android side you have to enable nested scrolls manually. So for this kind of scenarios, what we do in the experts world, we create another scroll view and disable the scrollable property of the screen, and add everything that scroll view has inside here. And inside the properties, there's an under specific thing. So enable nested scroll enabled. So this will allow you in the Android side of the things to allow you to use two scroll views within the scroll views. So sometimes you have a very large scroll view and a small scroll view inside it, and you sometimes you just want to play around with the inner scroll. And on Android, if this feature is not enabled, you won't be able to do that. So just to let you know, it's a good thing to know. Try to use this as possible. So let's dive into the other solution. So let's use only one view. So let's hide this. And instead of showing this fetch components, that's how I try to debug my problems. I just add a view. And let's give this view a style so that we can see it on the screen. Let's make the width 3000 and make height like 1000, and make the color something that we can see. Okay, so now it works, it's fine. So let's have a look at how the iOS preview looks. Yeah, it could have been much faster if we use our own devices, but let's wait. Okay, so it is even worse now because we don't see the view at all. So let's try to add some stuff. So normally, sometimes when we have a view wrapper on the tab view, it helps a lot. And let's use another color for the background. And for this, let's give it like a fixed height. Oh, let's, instead of fixed height, let's make it minimum height to be 2000 and see what happens. See, now we can see, we can scroll. Exactly. So what we can do, let's remove this styling and let's unhide our component. Let's hide this view and let's unhide this thing. I know I used like a fixed height. It's not the perfect way of doing this, but I think it's gonna be a solution to this problem. Let's have a look. I have to refresh. Oh, there you go. You can see your app.
Victor, let us know if you were asking for it. I think you were asking for it, right?
And see if the yeah, see, inner scroll view also works. Perfect. And yeah,
Yeah,
and
Victor, thanks.
another scroll view inside here, it also works. So we can have a try to work on the Android preview, but I'm sure that like since we enabled the nested scroll view on the top level, they will still continue working. Okay, I hope it helps, Victor. This is how we handle our problems.
Thank you, Sefa.
Okay.
So we have another question from Jeff. A question for you about Git. It seems that when I commit to Git repository, any new changes are added, updated to the repo. However, anything that is deleted still stays in the repo. Is there any reason a file I delete in Draftbit that it is not also deleted from my GitHub repo?
Okay. So it's a interesting question, but unfortunately, I'm not very familiar with how we handle the GitHub repo parts in Draftbit. A friend of mine from the production team can be helpful. So please do write this question on to us from Intercom so that we can ask to one of our engineers how this is handled. So this is out of my knowledge. Sorry, Jeff. And thank you, Raul.
Yeah, but I heard about it, by the way, from Yusuf, I guess. He said that we don't delete the files, from the GitHub repo, he said, but I'm not sure why. I mean, we can just ask him today's team sync, I guess. And Rahul is here. If you want to share your knowledge here, Rahul, you're always welcome. Yeah, he says we keep those in order to restore them in case you deleted them by mistake. Yeah, that makes sense.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great job, Safa, again. Thank you. And maybe we can move to another question if we don't have any other questions from our attendees. Let me share my screen and show you about the question.
Okay, I'm waiting.
Okay, let me share. Here. I sent Rumesa a lengthy question. From where, Johnny? Not sure, sorry. I'll checking. And Rahul, I'm in a meeting, sorry guys, otherwise I will lost you. Thanks, Rahul. Thank you. So let's take a look at Matt's problem here. Checking for matching variable in JSON. So he has a custom code where he is checking for a variable in a JSON response, and setting a global variable as true if it is found. But he says it is not working.
Okay. A tricky one. So is it possible to make the screen a little bit larger for me to read?
If you can,
okay.
I can share.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Yeah, let's have a look at the code. So this is a custom code, but let's see if we can figure out what's happening. So he has a JSON data object. So first, there is a if statement that he checks if it's a string, and if it is not a string, it just parses this and saves it over it. Okay, this seems like fine. Then secondly, he just checks if it has a property called items, and if it is an array, he does a loop, and it says the after. I see what's happening here. So he says that it's always returning false, right?
Yeah,
So
I don't remember, but it's not.
okay,
Yeah.
so the problem is here about the JavaScript. So like he has a function from line 15, like line 17, he has a loop. So he like for each item inside this items, he checks whether there's a property ID or not. So if there is an ID, he sets the global variable to true. But then he doesn't stop there. Like he just sets that variable to true and just continue looping. And then everything about that loop is finished. And then on line 31, no matter what happened above, it always sets the value to false. So like what we had to do is to add a return function after line 20. And I guess it's gonna solve his, yeah, like you just have to type return just after the line 20.
Okay.
And I guess like there's also one thing that I noticed. He's setting the values as string values, like true in like quotations.
Yeah.
So like this is not a good practice, to be honest. Like if you're gonna try to save a boolean value, it's better to use them as booleans instead of values, because you might be using that value in one of our properties, and you might get your screens crashed on Android sites when you try to assign a string to a Boolean field. So like just keep in mind that like when you're playing with the custom codes, try to set booleans as booleans and strings as strings.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
So his code is just, lacking some return
Yeah, there
here.
should be a return function because once it's found, it has to stop running the code because it's found. Otherwise, it has to be set to false.
It's always false. Okay. Okay. That
Is
makes
there a setting
sense.
in Draftbit that I can turn on, make my app rotate from portrait to landscape in emulator and it's test on my flyby? It's written on Python. An interesting question. Let me.
Um, have to turn on to make my app rotate from portrait to landscape. Emulator and test
Yeah,
flight.
you can do this here. The setting in Draftbit that I have to turn
Oh, yeah. Maybe he's asking for, I'm not
portrait.
sure.
In emulator and in the test flight, my app won't rotate in an iPhone. Is your like rotation enabled on your iPhone? I don't know, like in on our website, on our builder, you can just rotate your screens and do your implementation that way. In the emulator and in the test flight, my app.
Maybe we can show him. I think are you asking for changing from portrait to landscape in the builder? Yes, rotate is enabled on my phone.
But once you rotate your app, it doesn't rotate, huh? Jeff, I have to look around, play around with this because that's not something that I've like that happened to me before. Let me play around with this, and I will inform you. Thank you for the question.
Also, Johnny was asking. I sent a message link to the question from. I think he was sent from Intercom. You can copy it here, by the way. Oh,
Yes,
what were you asking? I don't remember. Not the message chain. I think you don't need to. Let me just check intercom. Uh, we need to answer as much as we can during these sessions when we have experts here. Apologies. Yeah, it is a long message, Johnny. So maybe I can just
title.
send it here.
Okay, I want to save the button trigger. Okay, so for the Jeffs first because he asked first. How about more softball? I'm trying to create a simple list item with 3 columns for each item list. Okay, icon 338 pixel. Title, fill in available space, and go button. Okay, so what's your problem with Jeff? It seems like a good list item to me. I think the problem that you might have is that your title is not filling the available space, right? This something is a common thing that happens to most of the users. Yes, yeah, he just
Yeah.
replied. So just put your title inside the view, and in that view, use flex one. So by this way, that view will stretch all the available space, and your text will be fine with inside. Yes, I understand. So if you use the text directly, it's not gonna fill in that space automatically. But if you wrap the text of the title in a view and use the flex on that view, it will fix your problem. And let's have a look at the Johnny's problem. I want to save a button trigger on press to perform an if and else and run custom function to overlay the list of variables corresponding to each field. Oof, I, Johnny, this is gonna be a long question. Let me try
Um,
to answer this after this community hour because maybe Ramesh can send me this over and I will have a look at it and just try to help you. It's gonna be otherwise our time will be finished by the time I finish reading this.
My best idea has been that iPad would take a moment to return the results if one
Question:
clicks.
I'm extracting values from a fetch component and save them
Yeah,
under the day of the morning. If there's a
yeah.
value,
By the way, Johnny, we are going to take a look at your issue in intercom, and if needed, I will ask Safa. I'm getting his word here, right?
yes, exactly. I will do my best.
And let's continue with Davies' question as we are running out our time. Maybe he has a quickly answered question. So
I'm
I have a
extracting
question. I'm extracting. Yeah,
component
you can
and
read.
save them under a value day of week morning exists. If there is a value and I want to check, set the checkbox to false. I've created a function. I'm not sure about what's wrong with it. They are all screen variables. So let's have a look at this code. So he has got check Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So okay. So the day of week morning, Monday morning exists. Okay, day of week. For each day of week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, set checkbox is the function that he assigns set checkbox Monday, Tuesday, okay. So this is a weird custom code. So like there are so many different things that might be happening here, Davey. So first of all, is your checkbox Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday functions are valid functions? That's one of my first questions. And like instead of doing the list like this, the implementation that you did here, I would suggest to comment out everything that you have here and try to call those functions manually. Actually, I see that. Oh, can I share my screen so that I can
Yeah,
show
please.
my arrow here? So let's open this. I don't know if you can see this. So you set the values. Check Mondays like the values of the screen functions here, but you don't use them here. So that's weird thing. But you're using the set checkbox Monday function, which is a variable. So this is a since this is a screen function, you have the ability to access to your setter function of that screen. So if this is a screen variable, this works. But in order to debug, like it's very hard to say what's happening here from the code. I would suggest you to toggle everything here and try to set these manually, like true or false from your code, then see like if it works. And yeah, if everything works fine, let's see. So this is an array. So for each day, like for each item here, you are setting, if the morning is 0, you set the false. So the rest seems to be okay to me. Set checkbox if there's no typos or anything. I would suggest like just try to check whether your setter function works as you expected. Like I don't see any other problem happening here other than that. And you, like for example, Monday morning exists is another thing that you are accessing from the screen variables, but like see if they're all not false or something. Like I would suggest you to make sure that the properties that you're using on your custom codes are exactly the values that you want to use. Okay.
Okay, I hope that helps, Davy. Sorry, by the way, Johnny, but I feel guilty, about we weren't able to answer it here, but we are going to answer your question and unblock you about it. And just to let you know, guys, if you want us, I mean, our experts to look at your those kind of issues, we are going to hold our office hours sessions weekly basis. So next week we are going to have another office hours, and we are planning to um, cover another topic that you are highly requested, like social login, maybe resetting password. I'm not sure yet, but we're going to have another experts, engineer from our team, and we will be happy to debug or troubleshooting your screens, your issues. So please send us beforehand, let us know, and don't hesitate to ask in community from intercom, and please join our office hours. We are very happy to have you all here. So you all are the best. A few weeks ago, a mobile app wasn't even a possibility for me. Thanks for a great product and especially for making yourself so available. Thank you, Jeff. Really. Oh, it's
So sweet.
Thank you.
And comments like this, this.
Yeah, we're always happy to help. So feel free to reach out anytime. Thank you all for the participation. And thank you, Safa, for the great job, for your answers, for your insight. Thanks a lot.
I'm glad if I could help.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Johnny.
Is all questions finished? Everything's fine? Okay.
Yeah, I guess so. And we're going to, we don't left much time. So we have another meeting upcoming 5 months ahead. So thank you, Victor, for joining. Please feel free to join anytime, office hours. Thank you. See you guys in the next office hours. So until then, cheers. Bye. Happy building.
Yeah. Building.